This is Tim Ardar with The Beat, chatting with Sharon Flynn and David Skelly, the producers of Max and the Midnights. How you guys doing?
Doing great. How are
Hi,
you?
Tor. Great to see you, and thanks for having us.
Of course. So it's funny. During the pandemic, when we were all stuck at home, I definitely found a lot of comfort shows, particularly with Monty Python sketches, especially Holy Grail. With this Max at Midnight animated series, and even with the original Lincoln Purse books, I definitely got some kind of Monty Python vibes from it. So is it safe to assume Holy Grail was an influence on the series?
I love that you got that vibe from this because yes, it absolutely was. That slapstick Monty Python-esque humor was one of the pillars that we built the whole show, the whole premise of the show on, along with, just an epic action adventure in a rock and roll spirit. We wanted that silly, Monty Python kind of vibe throughout. And I'm just delighted that you picked up on that.
Nice. So it's funny, kind of continuing the Monty Python theme. Funny, I know, David, you worked on Big Nate before, right?
I sure did.
It's funny enough that it's funny, obviously, having interviewed Mitch Watson, I know the Terry Gilliam mixed media animation kind of, was inspired that Big Nate. So it's really interesting to see in adapting Max to the Midnight in animation, you can still see the Lincoln Purse look, but it's very distinct. It's different from Big Nate. It almost reminded me at times like Rankin-Bass, those holiday specials. So I'd love to know what went into the animation style.
Well, I'm delighted that you're picking up exactly on our influences. So the classic Rankin-Bass holiday specials, specifically Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, was what we studied actually to first develop the look of Big Nate. And that was something that I was heavily involved in as the art director in the first season. And we wanted to continue that exploration with Max. Now, Max, we wanted to have a very distinct look, but we wanted to follow that thread that we began in Big Nate so that there would be a similarity in the two Lincoln Purse shows, but they would also stand alone and have their own individuality. So I love that you picked up on that stop motion look and feel.
Oh, yes. Like I said, when they announced the series, like a month or two ago, I love, Big Nate. It kind of inspired me to read the original comics. And then when they announced this, that, even though they're from middle grade, audience readers, I decided to read the books and, they're really delightful. But with this series, I think you guys do amazing work with it. You kind of go deeper with the characters, give them more character arcs. For instance, Mumblin. He's basically in the books, he's the archetypal wizard like Obi-Wan Kenobi. But with the series, I love what you do. He's actually more like Luke Skywalker in Last Jedi. He feels over the hill and he has to rouse himself into back to adventure. I think for me, that definitely resonated for me. As much fun as you play with the comedy, I'd love to know if the opportunity to offer these deep character studies was something that appealed to you.
Oh, absolutely. When I first read the book, I was just like, I love this world. I love these characters. I love the tone. I want to tell this story. And knowing that we would be doing a TV series, the book is the shorter book. We wanted to add to it and just flesh that out completely. What I'm so excited, one of the many things I'm so excited about our show is that it's very serialized. And we end an episode on a cliffhanger. We pick up right where we left off. We plant something in episode 2 that pays off much later down in the season. And part of that is we wanted to construct character arcs for all of the characters, not just Max. So we really dug in, and I'm so glad you talked about Mumblin because that was a really, really important arc for me, making him just this incredibly sympathetic character, and where he is at the start of the season. And without giving any spoilers, I can't wait for you to see what's in store for Mumblin because he has a big arc, and as do all of our characters.
It's funny because, as you said, the books are really short in contrast to something like Game of Thrones, which is this huge, sprawling epic, and it's not even finished yet. So,
Right, yeah.
George, I believe there's only I don't know if Lincoln's doing any more books. There's obviously only three. I love
That's-
that you, like you said, the second episode, you planned something that he put in the second book. So I love, obviously, I think the crux with Ghastly, that's from the first book. So that's obviously kind of the first season. But I'd love to know if there are things from the other books you incorporated in the season or added, specifically like Max's origins.
Well, so for the 20 episodes that we crafted, it was all based on book one. There are a few things that we may have pulled from other books in terms of like the world and creatures. I won't spoil anything, but essentially our first, 20 episodes encompass that first book. And fingers crossed that we get to do more.
Awesome. So it's a fantastic, voice cast ensemble. Everyone's just perfectly plays the roles. I have to highlight in particular India de Beaufort. Most people know her for her on-camera work, but she's no stranger to voiceover. In fact, she was in All Hail King Jillian, which you worked on, Sharon.
That's right. Yeah.
So is it safe to assume that was your idea or just a really weird, great coincidence? She put them on.
It was. I have to say, I loved working with India on All Hail King Julian. And when we were looking for our Fendra, I just was like, I just had a feeling. I was like, I think India would be amazing. So yes, that and she is. She's incredibly talented and she brings so much to Fendra, just so many layers, and I can't rave enough about India and how amazing she is.
I think a trailer must have or just like I think I saw one trailer a design of her. It's interesting looking at obviously the covers are in color, but it's interesting I think what you do with her designs. Even like I said, you can recognize the Lincoln purse looks. Even with Big Nate, it's interesting to see how he adapting the 2D looks into 3D and maybe some changes. I'm curious with Fendra, I kind of from what I saw, the way you kind of the color of her, I didn't expect. I'm curious again, the changes or how you went into adapting the look, the character designs.
Yeah, in terms of adapting the character designs from Lincoln's designs to 3D, just like we did with the story itself, we wanted to make sure that we were absolutely, adherent to the world and that we were really telling Lincoln's story and we were showing Lincoln's characters on screen. Our design process in 3D actually started with tracing Lincoln's designs to make sure that the silhouettes really matched. That, so that readers of the books would recognize those characters. There wouldn't be any doubt that that was Max or Millie or Fendra. When we had that basic silhouette down, then we, like with the story, decided to deepen it, to go farther, to make sure that it really worked in 3 dimensions and that it felt rich and textural and like something that you could touch. So where we really deepened was costume design. Once we had that silhouette down of the whole character, then what within that silhouette could we go even farther with in terms of texture and layers and belts and other things that we could add to them without disturbing that silhouette again, but that it felt richer and more dimensional.
You kind of just mentioned earlier, this is a 20 episode series. Obviously, there's always potential to continue. But I'd love to know if this kind of season is planned as a standalone fitness series, or would you love to have ideas in the back of your head for potential future seasons?
Oh my gosh, I would always love to tell more,
Yes.
Of course, because I love this world. I love our characters. So my answer is yes, I would always love to do more.
And I'll second and third that.
As a viewer, I definitely, just after only 2 episodes, I definitely would love to see more. So I
Oh,
can't wait. It's been an immense pleasure chatting with you both.
thank you so much.
Likewise, the pleasure is ours as well. Thank you so much.